there's an important distinction that we can make on this process. At some point, we will shift from realizing the individual lies that the mind is telling to realizing that the mind itself is a lie. So in the first, and in the, let's say, earlier part of a journey where the mind is still very influential in redirecting attention to it. So there's just an extension of the mind's old activities now shifted into a new kind of filter for that. So there's just this othering, but it's the mind. It's the mind sort of othering itself. So we're looking at the mind, and then the mind is making interpretations about what is being looked at. So it says, oh, look at this mind telling lies. Look at these lies. And this can be helpful in terms of an objective practice of recognizing the beliefs that have been taken on in this experience and questioning them and letting them go. That's great. It's effective. It's pretty concise. It doesn't have to be it doesn't come with it an emotional experience, a big dramatic thing. But when the mind is then making interpretations of this process, so it says, look at how the mind is lying. The mind is bad. The mind is the enemy. And there are even teachers who frame some of their teachings this way. The idea is to get rid of, to kill the mind, or some other interpretation or wording of that. But what comes away from that is this idea that the mind is the enemy. The mind is the other, to be resisted, to be denied, avoided. The next step in this is to realize that the mind isn't really lying. The mind is the lie. And there's no one lying. This might, if the mind is engaged in this distinction, this might bring up resistance. It might bring up a sense of fear of what can I even count on as true, or what are you talking about? This illusion projecting out from consciousness and yet contained within has built-in mechanisms which say that the illusion is going to reflect the state of consciousness in this moment. So to say that the mind is bad, or this mind has real big problems, must be false. The mind is only reflecting, sort of recycling, sponging in, sponging out what is being taken on in the illusion. But I am ultimately not taking any of this on. I ultimately have never lost sight of myself. I've willingly played this game. I am right now willingly playing this game. And it reflects consciousness. So, if the mind is chattering on, it is because there is a vestige or a full-on belief in the reality of it. So when the mind chatters on and says things, and then I say, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I wish that wasn't true. I don't like the state of things now. Then we are buying into the reality of the mind, and we're also saying, I don't like it. So we are sticking a little stake in the ground saying, this is what I want. This is how I want this to go. Which only the person does that. Awareness. Open. Expansive. No stance. No sense of morality. But holding all of this, and so not preferring one person over another person, results in a natural goodness. You only lose this natural goodness, you only have the experience of losing this natural goodness when you begin to prefer this person over that person. Draw a line in the sand. When I realize that the mind itself is the illusion, the mind itself is the reflection, the manifestation of a misunderstanding. I can't be mad at the mind. I can't resist the mind. I can't wish the mind wasn't there, because that's mind. That is perpetuating the very same illusion I am resisting. All is one. Hearing this and maybe repeating it to yourself as a kind of mantra, intellectually, is one thing. But for this to sink in, that's when insight comes in about this. If all is one, then what? Then any resistance must be part of the illusion, must be part of the misunderstanding, is within the illusion of duality. Only in the illusion of duality can there be resistance, a sense there is another doing something wrong to me that I don't like. It's so simple, but ultimately, if all is one, there can't be resistance. If this isn't hitting deeply, then this can become a kind of contemplation for the moment, because this is something that I repeated to myself a lot for a while. And then there was the sudden recognition, oh, I missed it. And that's the thing, really. We've all heard everything we need to hear. This whole thing is always showing us exactly what we need to see to understand this. We're not willing to see the whole thing or feel the whole thing. So you already have what you need from what was just now said and every experience you've had until this point. There is no real resistance. Resistance is part of the illusion. It is furthering the illusion. I let go of resistance. The act of doing that, the non-act, the non-doing of that, is returning to the natural state, to experience the supposedly separate, the apparently separate form, without buying into the reality of that separateness. That is to live, to experience human life without suffering. This thing is always out there, being compelling, being tricky, inviting me back into total absorption into it. That's always there. It's always an option. And that's okay. And even if I am, we could say I've had the initial recognition, realization that I am ultimately not this, that this is just projecting out from me, and that only this now is real, and when in the now this doesn't exist, it never will have. There's nothing to resist. I can just play. This feels so radical. It feels so wrong to the mind. If I identify as the mind, then it feels so wrong. If I can watch the mind say, this is so wrong, and also realize I am not this mind saying this, that's my little wedge. Then it doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter if attention becomes absorbed back into the illusion. Because once it is known, it's known. So you can become absorbed back into it. And that's okay. Maybe you go back and forth. Maybe you go stay in that state of absorption of attention in the illusion. That's okay. Maybe you never realize this, and that's okay. You are me. You are the same one living all experiences. So this one experience being of self-realization or not, it's not a big deal except to the mind. That's the ironic and hilarious part about teaching, about the joke of teaching, is that I'm sitting here talking and doing this, and I'm not sure why. It's just something that continues to happen. Inspiration continues to come up, and I also know that all is well without this happening. It's a choice of a kind of doing that's happening. It's so light, it's so open, there's no commitment, no weight. This doesn't matter, except what I say matters now. That's unshakable liberation. And it's right here. It's right here. There's such an illusion. This is part of the illusion, the idea that I have to study and study for years before something clicks. That is not necessarily so. Maybe it is. Who's to say? But my best bet is not buying into that.